Hello everybody, Ronnie here. Today I'll teach you how to stay alive with the Garmin G1000, mainly how to deal with it on the ground and in the air while maintaining your fuel calculations and dealing with next rad weather related with the G1000. What the G1000 does for you? Well, as you've known through your research and studies, the G1000 does several things, and there's way too much that I can even talk about in this 7-minute video slide. So I'm going to focus mainly on, like I said, fuel, both on the ground and in the air, and next rad. When dealing with fuel, after you've started the G1000 and gone through the appropriate checklist, you should start the G1000, reset the fuel when topping it off. So be sure to reset the fuel in the actual G1000 computer program. You can do this as listed on section 1.3 in the cockpit user guide. On the multifunction display soft keys, select the engine soft key, the system key, and then reset the fuel by zeroing the fuel out. When dealing with fuel, after you've started the G1000 and gone through the appropriate checklist, you should start the G1000, reset the fuel when topping it off. So be sure to reset the fuel in the actual G1000 computer program. You can do this as listed on section 1.3 in the cockpit user guide. On the multifunction display soft keys, select the engine soft key, the system key, and then reset the fuel by zeroing the fuel out. After selecting the reset fuel key, I'm going to tell you what you should do when dealing with fuel. The fuel quantity indicator is located near the engine instruments gauge on the multifunction display. To reset the fuel, like we said and showed you, reset the fuel soft key, resets totalizer-based fuel remaining, which would be gallons remaining, to 0 and the fuel used, which would be gallons used. Arrow number 10 shows fuel quantity, which would be left tank and right tank. Arrow number 9 shows gallons remaining. I've had the pleasure to do about 8 hours worth of charter work in a Cessna 206, which also was equipped with a Garmin G1000. Now, one thing that I have noticed on this $600,000 airplane, as well as a Garmin 1000 172 SP model at a local flight school, both of the airplanes were not completely accurate whenever dealing with the fuel gauges and fuel. This is the nature of the beast that we have to live with, and we have to know that we need to manage our fuel properly as professional pilots. So manage your fuel. Don't let the fuel manage you. Write down how much fuel you have on board. Note the time that you started the engine. Manage your fuel based on fuel burn throughout the flight. Compare your notes to what your fuel gauges read. Managing fuel on the G1000 multifunction display. As you will see in this video, we have a multifunction display, and I'm going to show you how to reset the fuel. Hit the system soft key, reset fuel soft key, and you'll notice that the gallons used went to 0 and the total gallons is 87, default for this airplane. Hit the gallons remaining soft key and you can select 87 right away, or 64 total, or you can gallon by gallon take away or add gallons in 1 units and in 10 units. The G1000 receives a next rad signal that was actually about 10 to 15 minutes old on average. A NexRad volume scans by a scanning device on the ground that scans a certain altitude, starting from lowest altitude to highest altitude. It compiles this into one data message and then broadcasts the data message. As this picture shows, one radar, many beans. In section 10.3, in the cockpit user manual for the G1000, the XM weather service is optional. XM weather is not intended to be used for hazardous weather penetration. Weather information provided by XM radio services is provided only for weather avoidance, not penetration. This means situational awareness and to fly around the red cells. From the navigation map page, press the map soft key, then press the NexRad or XM linking soft key to display the desired weather. In the top right corner of this photo, you'll see the word that says north up, NexRad just under it, and just under that it says expires 10 minutes. You might ask, what is NexRad? Also known as Next Generation Weather. The green, red, orange, and yellow markings that you see on this iPad display is actually NexRad weather received from an airplane in flight. In section 4-3-14 of the Aeronautical Information, it specifically says, don't use data link weather, next generation weather, NexRad, mosaic imagery as the sole means of negotiating a path through a thunderstorm area as tactical maneuvering. Do remember that the data link NexRad mosaic imagery shows where the weather was, not where the weather is. The weather conditions may be 15 to 20 minutes older than the age indicated on the display. We can learn from other people's mistakes. When things go wrong, accident case study statistics. So this is a screenshot in the middle of a YouTube video, and you see the caption at the bottom says, yes sir, we're watching the NexRad, so we're just going to play it by ear. This pilot actually ended up flying directly into a red cell after he thought he was in the clear because he depended on his NexRad weather. If you have time, please look up this accident case study that actually happened just northwest of Houston in College Station. Will a message show up on the G1000 if you lose NexRad? Well, in this video, you can actually see on the multifunction display. You can see right here on this video, we select the FMS knob, go to the auxiliary page, and a couple selections down, you'll actually see that it says check antenna, and these are the things that we have on the G1000 that you're flying. If you are approaching bad weather, you need to deviate your course, and you can do this with the G1000 very easily. Here we have a video of the multifunction display, and you see an airplane that is traveling eastbound from Houston. As the airplane is traveling eastbound from Houston, what we can do is select the range, select that range button, and it's actually a joystick where we can use that cursor to go right, left, or wherever we please. Whenever you select direct enter, it will actually show the specific GPS waypoint wherever that cursor was. And as you hit direct enter, the airplane will travel specifically to wherever that cursor was whenever you selected it. You can simply put the cursor away from a red cell or in the direction at which you want to travel. There the cursor is. We select direct enter, and the airplane begins to deviate to that specific point. Weather-related accidents comprise 33% of the commercial air carrier accidents and 27% of the G accidents. I hope that everyone had a good time with this slideshow and was able to learn something new. I sure did while I was researching and making this video. God bless, take care, make good decisions in the cockpit with your fuel and navigating
and deviating around next rad.